What's good, y'all? All right, here we go. Speaking about McKinney, the pool party situation that happened. First thing I want to say is the video was incomplete. We didn't see what happened, how the whole situation jumped off. Some of you would say it doesn't matter. To me, it matters a great deal. I'll explain that in a minute. Next thing I want to say is we can't lump this officer together with what the actions that we've seen of other officers in the last year, Ferguson, Baltimore, New York, etc., because every officer is different. They're different people. The situations are different. The people that they're dealing with are different. So therefore, we can't just look at this as a, see, here we go again. Now, what we can do is when we're speaking of making change with specifically how law enforcement interacts with the black community and how the black community interacts with law enforcement, we can use these events as a whole, you know, when we're trying to enact change. I'm okay with that. But just from a standpoint of, oh, look, see, look, here we go again. No, because they're different. Now, seen a lot of comments on Facebook, Twitter, a lot of people adding a lot of extra stuff onto what this officer did. To that I say, watch the video. If you have a problem with the way the officer acted in that situation, okay, that's fine. But have a problem with what he did. Don't throw all this extra stuff. I've seen people talking about, oh, he drew his weapon and he was waving his weapon around at a group of teenagers and I'm like, he drew his weapon when a couple of kids were about to run up on him. And I don't care what y'all think, but in my personal opinion, at that moment, he was justified to draw his weapon. Because, hey, I'm sorry, if I'm a cop and I'm dealing with one person and I have a couple people running at me, I don't care if they are teenagers. You don't know what people are capable of. If you're running at me, you're a threat to me. He drew his weapon, they stopped, they ran off, other cops chased him, put his weapon back in his holster. In my mind, he did nothing wrong in that situation. Now, as far as him dragging the girl down, again, a little sketchy to comment on because you don't really see and hear exactly what transpired right before he grabbed her. Now, he grabs her and he tries to pull her to the ground. You know, she's trying to fight him off a little bit. At the whole time, he's telling her to get down, get down. Okay, and then he gets her and she's kind of down, but then he's like, okay, get face down, and she's not face down, so then he proceeds to kind of push her face down. Again, so a lot of people say it's a little bit too far. To those people, I ask the question, like, are his actions specifically too far, or is it the fact because he's doing it to a 14-year-old girl that make the actions too far? Because if you just have a problem with him, what he did only because she's a 14-year-old girl, that's a little shicey to me. Now, if you have a problem with him doing that to anybody, had that been a 36-year-old grown man and you were okay with him doing that, then you should be okay with him doing that to a 14-year-old girl. Because, again, in the streets, you don't know what people are capable of. Just because you see a 14-year-old girl in a bathing suit, that doesn't mean that you let your guard down, give her the benefit of the doubt, okay, I'm going to go easy on you. No. If I'm a law enforcement officer and I give you a command, tell you to do something in a chaotic situation and you don't do it, and I have to force you to do it, then that's what it is. Now, when he's got her on the ground, he's got his knee on her. Doesn't appear that he's putting any extra oomph into it. It's just, okay, she's a fairly small girl, 14-year-old girl, I believe. You know, he's a grown man. He's just got his weight on her, holding her down. She doesn't appear to be struggling. He doesn't do anything else to her. He doesn't hit her, strike her, punch her, beat her, anything like that. He's holding her down. Again, talking to the other people around. Now, the language he was using is a little harsh. But again, a lot of that can go back to what happened before then. How many times has he told these people? He might have showed up to the situation cool, calm, and collected. But then after a while, as any of you, a lot of you can attest to, if you have to tell people over and over again to do the same thing and they're not listening, you get a little frustrated, you get a little heated, you get a little agitated. So that might attest to the harsh language he used at the kids. Maybe that's just not how he generally talks. Again, as of right now, we don't know. Well, okay, so he's got the girl down. She's down. She's not moving. He doesn't do anything else to her on camera. Next thing we see him over talking to two other young men. The young girl is still back over where he left her. Maybe some other officers came, you know, detained her, things of that nature. I know she was released to her parents. All right. Thing that speaks volumes about the tape is when he's talking to the other two young men and he asked them, okay, well, what did I tell you to do? And the young man was like, you told us to get down. And what did you do? And the young man was like, well, we went and ran off and joined the mob. And he's like, exactly. So because you didn't listen to me in the first place, now you're going to sit here until this is all sorted out. Now, when he was talking to those gentlemen, after he had drawn his weapon to protect himself against the other two teenagers, after he had wrestled the girl to the ground, he was very calm. He was speaking forcefully authoritatively, but he was very calm in dealing with the other two young men that weren't being compliant. So the thing I'm going to say about this, and I got a pretty good feeling there's going to be a lot more to this coming out. This story is going to get a lot bigger. But as of right now, talk about what you saw, how you felt about it, if you were outraged, if you were saddened, if you were angered, if you feel that he was, acting kind of within his duty, however you feel about it, talk about what happened. But don't be throwing all this extra on and saying he did this, that, and the third when he really didn't. Just saying.